If you're looking to beef up your Alien and Aliens collections, check out the latest releases from Super 7.
So Muscle, they're the old figures we all had in the 80s, these little tiny rubber guys. And so we took those and turned them into licensed properties like Aliens, like Masters of the Universe. And so we made just a whole range. You can get the guy with the thing bursting out of
Chest
his
burster!
You can get Bishop cut in half with his robot gut spilling out, all in these tiny little rubber figures.
And they also have the ultimate alien collectible, the 18-inch Aliens Warrior, a perfect partner to stand next to your 1979 vintage figure. One of our last stops on the toy tour is Sideshow Collectables. The range of pop culture properties they cover is phenomenal, and they have their own horror-inspired figure line called Court of the Dead.
So the inspiration for Court of the Dead, I think, is a little bit of my teenage Dungeons and Dragons career, as well as my fascination in heavy metal and books like Elric and all manner of sort of dark fantasy kind of things. I'm Tom Gilliland. I'm the CCO and the creative director for Sideshow Collectables. So the process of creating a lot of these characters that you see behind us is both a two-dimensional design exercise and a 3D expression, obviously. So it's a lot of illustration drafting and a lot of sort of, I work with a 4 or 5 person design team, kind of collaborating ideas at that point, taking things from kind of the monsters we've always loved, and especially in this case, we're thinking about the underworld, so we're trying to pay off those things that you expect, ghosts, gas, skeletal type characters. Once we've got that figured out, we've got our master illustrations, then we're working with our 3D teams. We're going in as either digital sculptors or traditional physical sculptors, of which things behind you are done both ways. Those are then either outputs, sculpted in clay, molded, painted, and finished as you see here. So the character we're talking about now is Poxel. So he's sort of a scourge reaper, and what that means is he was a reaper originally in the sort of these Mortis Knights that go and harvest the souls. But there's a negative to that. You have to be able to do it without sort of taking any of that power onto yourself. And so the Underworlders are trying to avoid being destroyed by the effort that they've been enslaved to perform. Poxel is one of those Reapers that was unable to do that. So he had to be outcast from the Reaper society or whatnot because he was going to destroy the process and himself in doing so. So what you see is now a sort of bedraggled underworlder or whatnot who has, in a manner of speaking, taken on the guilt of that and turned it into a negative for himself, and it's kind of eating him up. So instead of sort of finding a different role where he can be productive, he's kind of, well, if I can't be on the A team, I don't want to be on any team. So he's become sort of this outcast, picking at scraps or whatnot to subsist out in the underworld, while sort of conniving his way to kind of get vengeance on the All-Taker or Death, who he feels has sort of betrayed him in the process, even though it was really his actions that took him there. And a lot of what happens in court is really your decisions are what govern your destiny. So Malavestos in Court of the Dead is a bit of the concierge to the underworld. He's kind of our fourth wall breaking character that can kind of talk to you on the mortal realm and say, hey, check it out, here's what's really going on, right? So we've done a great premium format piece for that, and when you look at it, you'll see that there's two faces, one of which is sort of his more gesture smile, and underneath that is a different face that is sort of a grinning skull, to give you that impression that he sort of is a bit of a straddler on both ends of the realm, something that you can easily kind of connect with, and then something that I think pays off what you would expect in the underworld in terms of that sort of Grim Reaper visage, right? The line definitely has some longevity. We're obviously going to continue to put more of these premium formats on the board. I think our next turn is to kind of look at the enemies of the underworld, both the Rakers that are invested in this dread script that's affecting them, as well as the Celestials from heaven and hell. The prestige format is something that we're looking to get people excited about, because it's a format that we can develop other characters that people have maybe seen in the Chronicle of the Underworld, and we can express there, as well as some of your favorites that we can do in different incarnations. Queen Gethsemane, as an example, is infinite numbers of looks and outfits or whatnot, so we can portray her in a number of different images as well within this small collection. Well, we definitely are focused on big presentation pieces. The thing that we've also noted is that there's, the collecting world has grown exponentially in the last few years, and I think that what that's bringing back to us is both an opportunity to satisfy a different format, but to also create more accessible points of entry for collectors that are maybe sort of gravitating their way towards the sort of bigger masterworks that we're well known for. So the small prestige format was designed to both accommodate collectors who might already have big collections and are running out of space, which is a very real thing, and also those that are maybe just coming into collecting and whose collectible budgets have a certain fixed level, and we want to be able to give them something that lets them enjoy the kind of 3D works that we're well known for, but in a format that's both financially and space accessible.